Good morning. Welcome to the TC Dojo. Today, it's our great pleasure to have in TC Dojo session Max Hoffmann as our visiting Dojo master. Max is amazing. He has been in the tech industry a long time and has done nearly everything and worked with customers in every industry. He was at Frame Technology before they were part of Adobe. He was part of Interleaf. He's been the TechCom evangelist at Adobe for the last 4 years. If there's anyone who's got knowledge to share, it's Max. It's been my pleasure to know Max for several years, and each and every time I've spoken with him, I learned something new that I want to share with others. In fact, just last week, I learned he's known in certain localization circles as the expert on translating some right to left languages. He's got a lot to cover, so feel free to type in your questions as we go. Max, we're all ready. I'm going to pass the control to you.
Great, terrific. I'll go ahead and show my screen. Thank you so much. Super. Thank you for coming, everybody. I believe that our goal here, this is going to be posted on YouTube eventually. I'm Maxwell Hoffmann. I'm the Product Evangelist. I'm actually the Product Evangelist. Hey, you know what? This is live, right? There's nothing stopping me from doing this. There, look, I didn't make a mistake. Isn't that exciting? See, that's the wonderful thing about live presentation, kind of like live TV. Anyway, I am the Product Evangelist. One of several for Adobe systems, and my focus happens to be on our technical communication products. Those are primarily FrameMaker, RoboHelp, but we do have a product called TechCom Suite, which bundles those two products with 3 others, also with Captivate, Acrobat, Document Cloud, and Presenter. And this is going to be more of a product solution overview today. I don't even have any real product slides, and I'm not going to bring up anything about pricing or stuff like that. You can go to adobe.com for that information. So just moving on a little bit here, I know that most of you, by the way, this is going to be not basic, but I'm going to be kind of hitting just the fundamentals of what's changed in the product. The reason that we had the quick poll on how much you had seen of the product is that I'm going to be doing almost exclusively new features, but I will try to touch on a few old. There we go. So the first thing is, I think most of you know this because it sounds like 80% of you have at least seen FrameMaker before. FrameMaker can actually be used 2 different ways, and that's why we're going to have 2 sessions, a Dojo Session 1 and a Dojo Session 2. It can be used for regular or sometimes referred to as unstructured documents. That's what I'm going to do today. Some people have referred to that as Microsoft Word on steroids, industrial strength publishing. There have been all sorts of monikers for that. Essentially what it is you can create well-formed, actually well-structured documents without XML and DITA. The product's been able to do that for 25 years. However, by just selecting a optional interface, you can do both. You can do that, and you can also do XML and DITA. So this is showing that the product basically has 2 slides to it. The reason I'm sharing this with you is that if I were to use my drawing tools over here, because I love them, they're really fun. If I were to go over here and put a big check mark here, this is what a lot of people are aware of, is just the unstructured version of FrameMaker. So you'll sometimes hear a little bit of mythology. There have been some people that our competitors will come in and say, oh, if you want to go to DITA XML, you really have to get rid of FrameMaker because it uses books instead of DITA maps, etc. Not true. It uses both. And it's okay if you really have a compelling reason to switch to another product, but if you're using FrameMaker and you get to the current version and you want to migrate into XML or DITA, you really have everything that you need. So that's all I wanted to share on that. The next thing I'd like to share, which I think I can do by hitting, there we go. What is FrameMaker? I'm not going to read all of this. This is just our official marketing blurb on what the product is. And this is kind of trying to describe the product in terms of what is new or different. Probably the most significant thing for a lot of people is, go back to my drawing tools because they're so much fun. I have to figure out how to change the color. But anyway, is this the product naming convention has changed for all Adobe products, not just FrameMaker. So moving forward, every Adobe product is going to be called 2017 release, 2020 release, whatever year it comes out. Good reason for that is that we have a lot of product bundles, like our TechCom Suite, where we have products at all sorts of different levels, and this way you'll know that everything is in sync with it. In a moment I'll show you what we're focusing on today, but one of the really big deals about FrameMaker is the fact that you can publish across many different channels. You think of that as delivery channels. You can also easily go to mobile devices and formats, and you can do all of this without any plugins. In fact, pause to make sure it's truthful. Yes, it is. Everything that I'm going to show you today is out of the box. I'm not showing anything. I'm actually going to show one thing that could require a modest fee if you wanted to do a whole lot of it, and that's generating a mobile application. But basically everything else is just right out of the box. The next session, which takes place in early August, we're going to cover XML and DITA, and there's been major changes and enhancements in that arena. You're going to see a lot. There's a lot of things that you can do in terms of collaborating with subject matter experts. We're going to focus a little bit more on that next time. We're not really going to do too much with CMS today, but we are going to talk about leveraging the proven strengths of FrameMaker for long, complex documents. So let me go ahead and rediscover my tool for erasing all drawings. There we go. And also get rid of the highlighter. I just love this tool. It's really fun. Okay, so anyway, remember how I said I could change anything I want to? Instead of title only, this says what we are covering. You can tell that I have not. You can tell that I have not worked with the Dojo template before. Here we go. So what we're covering is this is basically A through. This is 6 pillars or six areas of functionality that we kind of cluster our categories in, and I put a red box around some of the things I'm going to show. We're going to focus on some of the tools you can use to work faster. We're also going to talk a little bit about something I'm doing a webinar on tomorrow, which is right to left publishing for Arabic and Hebrew. And that, I'll have to touch on it ever so lightly today, but that is important with our emerging global economy. And then also personalized content dynamically, the fact that you can do that. The others, I didn't put mobile devices because I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to do that. So let me move over one more. Yep. Okay, there we go. So we're going to stop with that, and I'm going to go ahead and go into FrameMaker itself. And why not? Where else would we want to be? Okay, so let's get into FrameMaker, and we'll take a look at some of the things that have changed, because there have actually been quite a few. I'm going to start out with some of the things that have really improved productivity or made it a lot easier. And this will probably be a little bit new to some of you if you have used or seen FrameMaker before. First thing I want to touch on is how conditional text has changed or been improved. Conditional text control has been around for a long, long time. You can think of it as being slightly loosely like revisions or redlining in Microsoft Word, except we came out with it much earlier and it's more powerful. And conditions have allowed people for years to create multiple versions of documents with a single source file. So this is something simple where we've got a document that talks about North America and the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, in terms of I think it's carbon emissions or something like that. And the first thing that you can see is that once a condition is applied, it's much more dramatic. It's easier to see. We used to have kind of faded colors. One of the things was the display in tables was kind of ugly because it was chicken wire. You basically saw what looked like little X hatch marks running over it. And so looking at this, it's not too hard to figure out that the text that I'm in here, which is orange, is BRIC. And by the way, down at the bottom I have the pods. These pods were introduced in our user interface several releases ago, back in version 9. I think it's maybe about 5 years ago or 6 or something like that. And this has improved too. This used to be a little bit clunky or awkward. And what's nice now is it's a simple check on and off. So basically if I go into an area that's for North America versus BRIC, you can see that the checkbox simply goes on. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more paragraphs just so you can see how it's done. Just swiftly make this one BRIC. Just click on it and there it is. And then I'll take the paragraph below it, perhaps this one here. Well, actually, no, I'll take this one up here. Do the overview. Actually, I'll just take part of the sentence. That's enough, doesn't matter. And I'm going to go ahead and make this one be North America. Okay, there we go. So in terms of turning this on or off, this is very easy, and this is going to be important because in a moment we're going to publish some stuff out, and you'll see how this will actually affect what we call personalized dynamic content. So if I wanted to, if I wanted to actually control the display of this. We now have, we've actually had this for a while, but it's been improved. You can actually build expressions. And you can basically build expressions by saying, I want BRIC and Europe, but not South America or something like that. This can all be done with and or not expressions. So this actually allows you to have pre-built expressions. Earlier versions of FrameMaker, if you're back before FrameMaker 10 or 11, I'm not sure which. Basically, everything had to be done manually by kicking these back and forth. And people would actually save a template that had a specific combination in it, or they'd take screen captures or something like that. So I'm going to do a very simple way. The first thing I want to do is just hide brick, apply it, you'll see it disappears, and I've got some text selected over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn brick back on and hide North America. Okay. Pretty simple, not too difficult. Now, there is one thing that's really changed a lot. I'm going to go ahead and turn everything back on. So I'm going to show everything. There we go. This is pretty significant. If I could, I'd take a poll right now and say, hey, how many of you have used conditional text before? But and tables. Okay, now if I want to get rid of the conditions, what I just did, like let's say I want the table to be unconditional, just select it, click on it. And it's warning me there are no conditions in here, none at all. Now, something that we can do now that we could never do before, and this is pretty dramatic, is the fact that we can actually apply conditions to table columns. Very simple. It's just a simple select, etc. Okay, we did one for brick. We'll do one for we'll do one for North America. Okay, why does this matter? You ask yourself. Well, the reason is previously you could only apply conditions to rows. And let me just double check something here. I've had an interesting week with mechanical devices behaving strangely, and my wind-up timer has stopped working. So don't worry about that. Who cares? Here we go. I'm going to set it there. It's ticking now. Okay. So anyway, previously FrameMaker you could only apply conditions to rows or to the entire table. So what did that mean? What that meant was if we were using older FrameMaker, and if I wanted to have a version with only this column and a version with only this column, I had to create two tables. And the whole table had to be conditional somehow in order to have the columns appear. So now that we've applied to the column, let's make the blue column go away by hiding North America. Wowee, isn't that exciting? Pause for applause. And let's go ahead and do the same thing to brick. Ta-da. So as you can see, in a simple click, it's much, much cleaner and certainly more foolproof. So the takeaway message here is that conditional text has been around for a while. It's always been a really powerful, terrific feature, but now it's really, I would say, really kind of within the grasp of everyone. You know, that has really improved in terms of what you can do. Okay, so let's go ahead and hide that and move on to some other things I want to show you. One thing that I'm just going to quickly simulate, I don't have time to go through the steps, that is importing Microsoft Word documents. So let's say that I wanted to create a blank file, like a portrait file, and I wanted to go ahead and import a file, and I could go in here and I happen to have some information about a monthly calendar that I send out. Okay, when you import Microsoft Word now, and I'm not going to actually demonstrate this, I'm just going to describe it, it is possible to actually have a mapping table. So during the import process, it will actually prompt you and allow you to do this. You can actually bring up a table where you can actually map everything. Now, in all of our previous versions, it would just import it. Microsoft Word would just come in, and FrameMaker would do its best to do whatever it could. So what you can do now that's neat is one thing that I really like is, first of all, this is what the default used to be. It would basically take the word styles and then just add a new format based on what that was. However, what you can now do is you can go ahead and map this to a specific style, like heading 1 or heading 2. And I'm doing this in a rather plain document, so it's not going to be very pretty when I do this. And for our list paragraphs, I might want to do this to bulleted and whatever. And it's even possible to do this to styles, etc. So let's go ahead and just say, okay, not pretty, but hey, it did what I wanted it to. So I'm getting my specific paragraph tags applied without having to go through and do a lot of work. Previously, you would end up with a bunch of Word paragraph styles that you didn't want. You would end up with like heading space 1, heading space 2, etc. And you would often have to go in here and clean out the catalog and do quite a bit of work, perhaps as much as 11 minutes or so, not on one, on a larger file. So that's another area that's quite important to us, because even if you're not a daily Microsoft Word user, we know that we're all going to continue to receive work from Microsoft Word. It's never going to go away, and we're going to keep doing that. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other highlights. One of the other highlights, this is a really big one. I'm going to end up with publishing out to new formats and showing you how much that's been extended in just a second. Good, my timer is ticking. Glad that's happening. Okay, so what I'd like to do next is go to an area where I can open up a file, and I just have to carefully choose the right one here. here we go. It's going to be, I think, over here. There we are. Okay. Actually, I'm going to open up a file. It's a book that's actually in Arabic. Okay. There we go. And here we go. Now, this is going to look somewhat familiar to you because this is actually one of our built-in sample books that we've had for, I think, the previous release, and it has been translated into Arabic. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the book. Actually, if you look closely, hey, look, the chapter titles are in Arabic. You know, that's pretty cool. But let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and open up the, I'm going to go ahead and close this file that I've already done here. And I've got another file that I don't need either. There. Okay, so I am now going to go ahead and open up all the files in the book. It'll only take a moment, they'll all open up. Now, this is something that I'm going to limit the time on it because I know that there's a lot of Americans who may not yet be having their work translated into Arabic. A lot of Americans are not at all interested in translation localization. They kind of think it doesn't affect them or whatever. This is a major achievement. I spent over 12 years in language translation, and it is not easy to make software do this. Not only go in the opposite direction, but also mix. This is actually what's called bidirectional text, because if you think about it, this area here, I hope you can see this little box. Let me make it bigger. Okay, we're looking at a generated table of contents, and this area here is actually going from left to right, 1 to 1, but the rest of it is going from right to left. You know, so this is actually bidirectional. It's doing that automatically. It's determining which numbering system that you're using, and basically all of the layout is flip-flopped. It's actually just kicked over to go in the opposite direction. When you have English content that's translated into Arabic, there's several things that you want to be able to do automatically through the template, and I'll just touch on how it's done. If this was in English originally, it could have been authored in Arabic. In English, this would have been column 1, column 2, column 3. So all your tables have to reverse order. If you have anchored frames, they have to move from this side of the page to this side of the page. If you have, with your master pages, you know, your master pages where everything is, that all has to flip-flop and go in the opposite direction. So in the original Western version, the logo would have been over here. And you can do all of that really strikingly automatically. And I'll give you a quick idea how. I'm just going to very swiftly create a new document. FrameMaker for eons, FrameMaker has had the ability to create a sample document and fill it in with text for you. And since the last release, since FrameMaker 12, we've had the ability, we have new templates that will actually drop in English text that's readable, that looks and feels like a real document, has all sorts of nifty cool things in it. So this has been around for quite a while, but we can now do this. Okay, so many of you who have used FrameMaker or seen it, or if you've seen demos in the last 2.5 years, you probably have seen this file. We use it a lot. And this file happens to have some conditional text and things in it. Now, I want to show you just how easy it is to actually go ahead and deal with the direction of the document. First of all, we actually have a toolbar up here that is for bidirectional. And I'm going to go up here to Format, Document, and there's a new choice called Direction. Watch what happens if I change the direction for the whole document. Wappo, it's done. So even though it's in English and we're not in Arabic yet, this would be Arabic or Hebrew. This would be the first step. You can see that that's page 1, and that's how my flow is going. And you'll notice that everything is reversed over, even the side heads. You know, the side heads have all moved out here, etc. What is the takeaway message here? The takeaway message is it's extremely simple to make a template for a right-to-left language like Arabic or Hebrew, because it's a couple steps to get the direction going where you want it to go. You need to have the appropriate font applied so that you could do Arabic or Hebrew. And you also can do overrides. So for instance, here we see a table where this used to be called, this was column 1, and this was column 2, etc. Let me make that a little bigger. There we go. Okay, so this originally was column 1, this was column 2. There will certainly be times that you may have mixed content, even if something's being translated into Arabic, there may be a table that needs to remain in English for some reason. So on the table designer, for those overrides, there's actually a place here, a new property called direction. Notice right now it says inherit. What that means is paragraph, whatever I have selected, is going to inherit its direction. It's going to inherit its direction from the document. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make this an override, and I'm going to say I deliberately want you to stay left to right because I don't plan to translate you. And as soon as I do that, that's now fixed where this is column 1 and this is column 2. So that's probably enough about working with right-to-left publishing. Takeaway here is that this has traditionally been something difficult or expensive to do. Now, Adobe has another product that does a fine job with Arabic, and that's Arabic or Hebrew, many languages, and that's InDesign. InDesign, as terrific as it is, was really not created to do 1,400-page documents. InDesign also is not a good native XML DITA editor. And everything that I just showed you will also work through DITA and XML, and I'll be covering that in tomorrow's webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and close that because I don't think I need to use it again. Now, what I'd like to do, just to show off because I think it'll be fun, since we've got this nifty Arabic book here, what I'd like to do is to go ahead and use this opportunity to publish this out to one of our new formats. We've really enhanced and improved HTML5. And since the previous release, since FrameMaker 11, we've had the ability to publish out to 5 formats. If you look real closely, there's a 6th one that wasn't there before. It's called mobile app. So it's actually possible to create mobile apps for Android and for iOS. We're going to touch on that in a moment. I have my eye on the clock here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and publish this to responsive HTML5. And the first thing I'd like to do is I may want to modify this a little bit, so I'm going to edit the settings just so you can see how that's done. Okay, and we'll take a quick look at it. And so here's where the settings can be modified. Okay, and one of the things that is when you go to style mapping, which pops up under paragraphs, this is how you decide if paragraphs are going to this is where you decide if paragraphs are going to split or break what am I trying to say, topics into separate topics. So for instance, if we had headings, heading 1, heading 2, etc., we would see that in there. Okay. Then it's also possible to customize the layout for dynamic content filtering. So down here, you'll see I'm saying, yes, I want to use dynamic content filtering. And if I want to customize that, it's possible to easily create groups, and the groups can have some of your condition tags, which you saw me start out with underneath here. That would give me choices in the filtering that's going to take place. This is going to allow users to do personalized content filtering in your output, which I'll show you in a moment. Then let's say that I also wanted to go here to Azure Blue, and I wanted to edit this. This is the layout editor. So this is the layout for HTML5. Now, 2 things that are really important. One is this is virtually identical. We actually have an upcoming webinar that's not on our calendar yet, but it will be by Wednesday, and that's actually going to cover personalized content for FrameMaker. And for people who are used to what we were able to do previously, there's a lot more choices. There used to be about 5 choices here, and then somebody would have to go into the cascading style sheets if they wanted to do anything further than that. This is what I find the most exciting. Down here, we've got these little widgets, one for filter, table of contents, etc. You can actually turn these on or off with a simple true or false. And you can always hit reset property to get it back where it came from. We have the media query. This is where you can actually determine, you can actually yourself determine how many pixels will kick the output into tablet mode or phone mode. Under headers, you can determine if you want this area down here where my cursor is circling around. You can I haven't used the fabulous highlighter for a while. I'm just addicted to that. We'll go ahead and do it. So this area down here, you can actually determine if you want this to disappear once you go into phone. So when you squeeze down to the size of an iPhone, you may decide that you don't want part of the top or part of your screen eaten up with that. Many other choices we have. You can have a separate sidebar for the desktop, a separate sidebar for mobile, so they'll look and feel and behave differently. Okay, so I'm going to close that. And I don't want to save my changes. And also going to point out that there is basically there's a gallery that you can choose from too. So if you wanted to, you can open up a new choice, and there are 2 really cool gallery styles set up for you that you can go ahead and modify or make changes to. And once again, we also have style mapping, which we're going to get out of there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the defaults I have in here and just see what it looks like. Now, just to warn you, I'm in an Arabic file that is not really optimized for filtering, but it's just really cool that we can even do this at all. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this live in front of you. If I knew how to type into Arabic, which unfortunately I don't, okay, it's telling me it wants to save. Oh, it's already done. if I knew how to type into Arabic, I'd put someone's name in or something. I'm afraid I might do something disrespectful because I have no idea what I'm doing in Arabic. Ta-da, here we go. Okay, so this has opened up, here we go. This has opened up something that's a very common user mistake. And I'm human, so I do it too. Sometimes people only have a single document selected instead of the book. So I can't really, you can see that it's going left to right, but this is bad and we don't want to do this, so let's close it down. So what I need to do is go over here and have the book selected. There we go, the book is now active, and now I can go ahead and publish. And it should take a little bit longer. And I think that it is. It looks to me like it's doing multiple files, I believe. Yes, it is. Good. Great. I was really impressed with my performance speed, how swiftly I managed to generate Arabic. Okay, can you give me a 5-minute warning?
5 minutes.
Go ahead. Okay, there we go. View output. Well, that's okay. We'll be able to do it. So I just chose view output, which should come up. Well, here we go. Oh, okay. Oh, no, we're there. There we go. We're here. Hey, I'm excited it happened. Okay, so here we go. So as you can see, you'll remember that we had like tables and stuff in here. Look, there they are. See how they're going the other direction. So all of this is happening. It's just really, truly amazing. Final thing I'm going to show you in this last, oh, and then because we're in, excuse me, go back to where I was here, okay. Most importantly is notice that it's dynamic and it will resize itself down for phones or whatever you happen to be doing, you know, so that's that. And I only have time to show you one last thing, and so I'm going to very, very swiftly create a new file one last time. It's got 1 minute, and we'll be doing it. Let's just go here into Explore Templates, and this is something I haven't demoed yet in any of our standard webinars I've been doing, so it may be new to you. Okay, if you're going to modify a table design, which people frequently do, I want to go over here and do that. I'm going to go over here to the table designer. For eons, we've had the ability to put screen tints in it. You know, so for instance, we could decide that we wanted our, I've got the screen tints here, and I could decide that I want every first, here, go where I can see it. I could decide that I want to have every first row to have a certain screen tint. Now, previously you were limited to this, 3 to 10%. So what's really neat now is you can put in anything you want. I could make this be 77% salmon or olive. Let's go ahead and try that and see what happens. And ta-da, wow, there it is. It's 77%. And just to prove that I'm not kidding, we'll make it 33% and see what that does. Here we go. So basically you have 100 shades of gray. You got 100 shades of whatever color that you want to do. Much more that it can do. We're going to be covering some other productivity enhancements, and we're also going to be touching on some major changes in the XML interface, working with XML and DITA. In our next session, you'll be discovering how it's actually possible to edit and author DITA and XML with no coding. You don't see any tags at all. So the takeaway message of our next session will be what you want to do when flu season comes along. If you're working with, I've been there. You know, I've lived in cubicles for years, and I've had flu season here where I had to go. I literally have grabbed somebody from the shipping department to sit down and do things on FrameMaker. And with old FrameMaker 20 years ago, I spent 45 minutes and taught them enough to do like 15 things. So the neat thing is, in about 45 minutes, you could teach somebody everything they need to know to keep busy for the next 4 days grinding out XML. And they don't even know what they're doing, but they're creating flawless stuff. So with that, why don't I go back to my slides so we can wrap up here. All I have to do is find them. I think they're here. They are. Okay, so now that we've done that, I only have one more slide. You'll be happy to know. At least we relied on that. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to let you know was that here's my main contact information. Although my name is Maxwell Hoffmann with 2 N's, the proper spelling of my name is Hoffmann. Adobe has a policy that we can only have 8 characters in our email, so I'm stuck with this. But anyway, if you want to, just send an email to mhoffman and just say that in the subject line, just put assets for Dojo #1. And if you do that, it's not the slides, but I'll actually send you a list of links to where we have videos and a lot of exploration, product exploration, etc. And then here's basically, as we get up to our final questions, if there are any, there's 2 ways to reach me and the team. And just word of warning for people watching this early, I'm actually going to be out for surgery the first 2 weeks of August, heavily medicated, and I will not even be turning on my iPhone. I'll be turned off. So in my absence, I'll have this in a vacation message. You can send it to techcom@adobe.com, and that's a team of about 5 people in my department, so that somebody will definitely answer it. And that's it. So I guess I'll turn it over to you for questions.
All right. Thank you, Max. That was fantastic. All right, let me take it back now. All right, so to give you guys a chance to type in your questions, let's type them in. Let me tell you what's coming up. First, the TC Dojo Mastermind. This is new from us. The Mastermind is a member-driven discussion group where members talk about real-time issues they're solving and share ideas for possible solutions. Think about it like the hallway conversations between sessions at a conference. Everyone works together to develop the solution and really understand a topic. It's a collaborative approach that provides unmatched innovative method for solving problems because creative solutions come from making connections and seeing patterns. It is a members-only group. That's so that members can build long-lasting, trusted relationships. But the TechCom group has some openings available. To sign up, just go to the URL at the bottom. And as Max mentioned, the next TC Dojo session, he'll be back to talk about data and XML improvements. If you use data and FrameMaker, or if you're interested in using it, you really don't want to miss this. How do you sign up? Go to the tcdojo.org, and all the sessions are there. So I'm going to show you that on the web and show you what it looks like. Oh, maybe not. All right. Thank you for coming, Max. I think we've got some questions. Here we go.
Terrific.
The first one's for me. Is there an estimated time when this will be on YouTube? Probably today, maybe tomorrow. If you sign up on the YouTube channel, you subscribe, you'll automatically get notified. All right, here we go. Here's another one. This was great, Max. Good intro. Very good question. I like that.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I can answer that. I can answer that. Thank you.
Here's one. In the FrameMaker ribbon, there's a drop-down menu for adding symbols to a document. Is there a way to add more symbols to that drop-down menu?
Boy, that's a really good question, and I want to answer it accurately. I want to say I think so, because I know that I've seen some references to that in the past, not recently, possibly. I will say this, there is a way that that can be accomplished without the ribbon. This is an ancient technique some people have forgotten about. But it's possible to create a FrameMaker document that actually looks like, it's technically a FrameMaker document, but it is possible to make a FrameMaker document that actually looks like a little floating panel, a little floating ribbon. You can put any kind of artwork you want, and then you can actually put a text frame from the drawing tools over each icon, and it can then have a function call from FrameMaker to do something like to insert a symbol or whatever unusual thing that you want to do. Once that's locked, so it becomes like a locked document, you can have people open it up, and it's basically like a custom palette that will do anything you want. That goes with flu season too. If you want somebody that you don't want them really using menus, what I would say is send me an email on that, or actually send that email to techcom@adobe.com, techcomm@adobe.com. Because that'll go. We have a couple engineers on that who will get back to you. Thank you.
So, and I will save the questions too. So, Max, you maybe can write a blog post on that. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you.
All right, here's another good one. Is there going to be a similar session on RoboHelp 2015, especially covering the para-style mapping?
Yes, there is.
Yes.
yes. I believe it's in September, because I know that my next session is August 3rd, the day before I go out for 2 weeks of surgery and heavy drugs, and then the following one is in early September. And one thing I'll mention about it too is we'll go more in depth into mapping in that session. But one thing that I'm very excited about is that the last thing I did where I published out to HTML, that's become almost identical between FrameMaker and between RoboHelp. So the two products have become very compatible. In fact, if you have set up some publishing settings in RoboHelp, it creates a file called a .sts file, and it has like whatever you want it to do, like etc. It's possible to import those and use them with FrameMaker. So people who've been using both products, the TechCom suite, you can actually take a lot of the work that you've done in the past at RoboHelp, bring it over to FrameMaker, just do some minimal touch-up, and you don't have to recreate everything from scratch. So absolutely, we will be covering that, and you'll really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that one. The one I also want to do is I need to get, oh gosh, what's his name? Icon Logic. I need to have Kevin come and do a session on Captivate, because I actually am really fascinated by that. All right, everybody says yes, cool, thanks, yay.
Great. Cool. Well, it's a great way to start a Monday, and I wish all of my webinars were this short.
Well, you got two more just like it.
I have one thing to say in closing, though. It's I'll make it. I'm looking at my timer. It's just 30 seconds. For some reason, for the last 3 business days, I've had weird things happening with mechanical devices, strange things. I had a webinar Friday that all sorts of stuff went wrong, and today everything worked beautifully except my wind-up kitchen timer. It just stopped ticking. So I don't know if I have poltergeists here or what, but there seems to be some invisible beings floating around trying to affect my mechanisms. So I'm sure that we'll just be fine in August. But thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it.
All right, everybody, be sure and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get notified when this video gets posted, and we'll see you next time. Thank you,
Great.
Max.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming.